Hello, Dr. Amy Mercovich here. Today we're going to talk about what I think is a pair of very neglected joints in the body. We have a pair of joints that are weight-bearing, and they are ball and socket joints that we don't tend to use properly. And neglecting these joints can put you at risk for back problems and also potential future joint replacement. Do you have a guess what these joints are? It's the hips. Now I'll show you on my trusty little model here. So our hip joints, they're ball and socket joints, just like the shoulder. And look at what we do with our shoulders. And we do tend to do things with our shoulders all day long that use our shoulders as ball and socket joints, where we go all different directions. But who's using their hips that way? Not too many people this day and age. Most people are only walking and sitting. Walking and sitting. So we're only using two directions of motion, just flexion and extension of the hips, and not even very much extension of the hip. So what happens is when we neglect these joints and we're not using them as ball and socket joints going all different directions, then we are at risk for abnormal wear and tear of the joints, and also you get a loss of range of motion. So kind of think of it as like a stasis. It's not moving properly through the ranges, so it figures it doesn't have to move through the ranges, and it becomes so it's impossible to do all the ranges of motion. So what's the solution? We need to figure out what ranges of this hip motion that you are not using enough of and start using it that way with specific exercises and stretches. So sometimes it's the muscles in the front that are too tight, sometimes it's muscles in the back, it's sometimes the muscles that are in the glutes, the glute medius and minimus here at the hip, and sometimes it's the muscles in the inner thigh. So there's different muscle groups, and what we'll determine in the next couple of videos are what muscles you need to work on, and then how to stretch them and to move the joint through more normal ranges of motion in order to keep these joints healthy. And when you keep your hip joints healthy, it helps to protect the lower back. And the reason being is, again, these hips are supposed to do a lot of the movement. If they're doing all their movement properly, then it's less requirement on the lower back joints for overuse. So there you have it. We were talking about hips. The next couple of videos in the hip series will go over specific exercises and stretches.